Resident Evil. Hello everyone, my name is Sniping is Fun, and welcome back to the next stage in this Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Super Smash Bros. In general, Newcomer stage ideas. This will be number 5. We've done numerous stages so far, like the Galar Pokemon Stadium and Scuttle Town from Shantae. This time, as I mentioned in the last video, is going to be Raccoon City from Resident Evil. Before I get started on this, I'm going to say two things. If you can, first off, and I mentioned this in my live streams yesterday during Christmas Eve, if you can tell by my voice, I'm not feeling 100% perfect. I've gotten better since last week, but I have a little sinuses, drainage, a little tickle cough. So if that affects me during the video, I apologize. I've been working on videos behind the scenes. I've been wanting to do stuff for you, and that's kind of delayed it a little bit longer, but the Smash stages are coming. Like I said, the next 6 after this one are announced. We're getting there, more after that. And 2, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Happy whatever you celebrate. That would be today. This is going to be a December 25th video when this gets released, so there you go. But as we get back to the stage idea for this intro, because it's not way too long, Raccoon City from Resident Evil. And as I mentioned, with all these stages, there's like, unlike the characters where I mentioned like moveset ideas, percentage chance, why it makes sense, the stage idea is 2 simple categories. Well, how does the stage work? And song selection. Also, I have to state what characters from my Newcomer series, my 200 some odd characters I've mentioned, the 150 main series, and the 50 extra ones I did afterwards, who this would be for. And this would be the stage I would choose for either Leon Kennedy or Jill Valentine, both of which were in my main series. I gave movesets for. If you haven't seen those, I would suggest you please go look at that and any other characters I did. If you've missed some of my videos or haven't seen my list at all yet, I talked about 200 characters for Smash Bros. It was crazy, a year plus work. Yes. But yes, this would be the stage I'd pick if either Leon Kennedy or Jill Valentine ever got into Smash Bros. And why I picked Raccoon City is because it's the most iconic location in all of Resident Evil. Why would I not pick Raccoon City if there was ever a Resident Evil character in Smash Brothers? No other location besides the Spencer Mansion is pretty much as iconic and represents Resident Evil as much as Raccoon City. Besides the Spencer Mansion, nothing else in 4, 5, 6, 7, either Revelations or whatnot. I picked the most iconic location, that's Raccoon City, because that's where it all began, basically, besides the Spencer Mansion. But that's right on the outskirts, like on the hills out in the boondocks area, close enough to freaking Raccoon City. Is right there in the area. So all of it in the same area. So that's why I picked this as the most iconic location. And I think I came up with a stage that I think is going to be interesting enough. It's going to be plain and basic, but also unique enough, and it have its stage hazards, and it will be interesting enough for anyone out there that wants to play the stage. And if you were a Resident Evil fan, I think the stage will fit your needs for a stage in Smash Brothers. I would assume this would be kind of like the stage I think Sakurai would probably go for if Resident Evil character got into Smash Brothers. And this stage has 3 locations because this is a moving stage, a transitioning stage, maybe like the Mario, new Mario World, or like Rose in Brawl, whatever that level is called, like Super Mario Brothers level in Brawl, or like Pac-Land, or like Castle Siege. It has different locations and it transitions between them. And I picked 3 main ones, and I had to, since it's been a long while since I played Resident Evil 2 or 3, the main ones that take place in Raccoon City, I had to look at a map of Raccoon City to kind of get a general layout. I had to take a little bit of liberty somewhat with some of this stuff because some of these things aren't exactly as close or as like close knit as I'm putting them in the stage. So I'm doing a little bit of smashifying to Raccoon City just to kind of make it work in Smash Brothers. But I tried to keep it as close to the layout of Raccoon City as I humanly possibly could. So here's how the stage is going to work. Part 1, where you'll always start. It will be basically the street at the beginning of Resident Evil 2, where you're playing as Leon or Claire. The street that the game takes place on. It's like the road with like the stores in the background, the little like off, like, alleyway door, chain door, and like the burning cars and stuff on fire, and basically it's just a street road. It's gonna be a plain Jane, no platform, somewhat middle-sized stage where one singular platform is the street. You see in the background different stores, and you'll see like a little alleyway gate door that's probably open. You'll see zombies walking in and out of buildings and through the alleyways and whatnot, and like stuff's on fire and exploding, and you see, like, you hear screams like, zombie, you're hearing people being attacked and whatnot. It's obviously Raccoon City, as it's under attack after the outbreak in Resident Evil 2, and technically during Resident Evil 3, because that takes place around the same time too. Okay, so basically that's what it is. It's main platform. It's not very like airy, it's a decent height wise, air wise. It's mostly gonna be a ground area to fight. You can fight in the air. You'll have a decent chunk of air fighting, but it's not like for a lot of altitude type attacks. There's no platforms. It's mostly you're going to be on the ground fighting, and you can jump and do some attacks. The stage hazards here: the zombies can come from the alleyway, come from the sides of the ring, the sides of the arena, and attack you in the way of like the monsters from the Castlevania stage. Like, you can attack them. They won't be like a freaking Metal Face or Rathalos or Yellow Devil or major stage hazard where you have to beat them up before sending the stage hazard away. It's going to be like maybe one or two quick attacks, and the zombies go, "Ugh!" They can attack you and they can hurt you. And if they bite you, that can give you like an infection. Maybe for a short period of time, you get like damaged by poison or something, like a poison mushroom kind of thing. I think that'd be kind of cool. And then with stuff exploding, there'd be like barrels on the stage in the background, whatnot. Stuff on fire. The fire can probably fall off the buildings and hit the road. Maybe catch your, like little wood pieces can fall off buildings or something, hit the road, set stuff on fire. Like I mentioned in the Scuttle Town stage for Shantae, the fire will burn you. The fire will hurt you. You have to maneuver around the stage as you're fighting to dodge the fire and dodge the zombies as you're beating up your opponents in a smash match. Then, after a while, you'll be on that for maybe a few minutes. It will transition into a walking stage like Pac-Land, like the Mario Brothers moving stage from Brawl. And it will just slowly transition down the street. You'll see different markets, different stuff, and zombies can still come after you. There'll be cars in the road, stuff like that. That's obstacles for you to jump over. It'll move at a decent length speed. It won't be super fast. And then you will eventually, and I know this is definitely where I'm taking liberties at, because I know that street isn't anywhere close to this, I don't think. It will be the clock tower and the hospital, which are kind of close together on the map. I don't know if I'm going to have one in the front and one in the background, or if they're both kind of next to each other, because they're not that close. So if I had to pick one specifically, it'll be the hospital with the clock tower in the background. It'll be more of a visual in the background kind of thing. You'll be in the front you'll be near the front-ish street view of the hospital, and there'll be a couple platforms, maybe like parts to jump on the front of the building, like different different like ledges and stuff like that on the building of the hospital that probably broke off, or you're at the front of the building and you can jump on them. So this part of the stage has a few platforms, and it gives you a little bit more aerial stuff. You can move up the stage a little bit more. It's still kind of a medium length stage, and the stage hazards kind of work the same. Zombies can come on the stage and attack you. Stuff can explode, fall on the stage, and stuff like that. And you hear more screaming since you're next to civilized, sorry, buildings. You'll hear more of the civilians probably here than you'll hear on the street level market stage. That part one, and it will kind of stay there for a little while too. So it's not the biggest thing. These two parts of the stage, these two transitional parts of the stage are very similar, except for part one has no platforms. This part has some platforms you can jump on, so there's a little bit more of an aerial game in the second location than the first location. And then after you play on that for a while, you'll hear someone drive up a truck kind of thing, like, "Get in, survivors, come in." And you see people running out of the hospital and whatnot to get into like this truck. And you'll have to quickly jump on that truck, because that's the transition to the next stage, and it moves faster. You're fighting on the truck. You'll be on the truck for maybe like 30 seconds. It'll be moving at fast-paced speed. Think like the big blue stage from Melee kind of thing, where you're on like the cars coming by and whatnot, and you're fighting on there as people are driving through in and out. So the car's like, the truck's like, and like you can knock people off and get a quick KO there too. It's easier that way. You're on the truck for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then You're like, no, you hear the driver like, no, and he crashes. You're in front, in the third and final location, you're in front of the Raccoon City Police Department. The driver's probably dead, the survivors are all scattering all over the place, and you're in front of a destroyed truck in the police department front, probably a few extra platforms there. It's probably a larger stage because you're right in front of the police department, and there's platforms off to the side kind of thing and whatnot. I'm taking a few liberties there because I do recall the police department didn't have that big of an open area in front of it in Resident Evil 2 and 3. But I'm giving a little bit of liberty just to kind of make that transition a cool transition instead of just a walking transition from phase 1 to phase 2, phase 2 to phase 3. It's like a fast-paced, get the survivors out of there kind of crash landing course, easily able to knock your opponent off the truck. And you're fighting on like maybe a couple of broken pieces like police cars and platforms and whatnot. There will be no zombies here as hazards. There will be no explosions here as hazards. This is where the main boss stage hazard is going to happen. Like Metalface, like a Rathalos, like a Yellow Devil, like that thing from Earthbound, or Mother 3, I should say, whatever that chicken thing. One of the ones that you mainly come down the stage and it will attack you and you'll have to beat it up to send it away. However, and you already know who I'm probably going to talk about, this is the reason why I want to say this, it is a random choice. When you pick a stage, it'd be randomly 2 choices, Mr. X or Nemesis. And they'll jump from out of the destroyed, because the police department's obviously all destroyed and whatnot, they'll jump out of the thing, and then Mr. X would just be silent, or if you're fighting Nemesis, stars. And if you're playing as Leon/Jill, I would love the coding of the stage to be that he would target you a little more than the other players. Like, he doesn't take preference or anything, but he'll probably attack you a little bit more than other players. It'll be a random though, so it's either Mr. X who will come down and be more of a brute force power, beating you up, choking you, grabbing you, throwing you across the stage and whatnot, or Nemesis, which is a little bit more rarer. It'll be more likely the percentage chance you're going to get Mr. X than Nemesis. Nemesis is a little harder, that's why I want to make his percentage chance a little bit smaller, because he'll come down and he'll do the same thing, be a little quicker, more powerful doing so, but he also has his friggin' rocket launcher and will blow you up with a rocket launcher. That'll be fun. So yeah, that, and then how it transitions back to the road is the bus that is at the beginning of Resident Evil 2 will eventually kind of be there on the stage, like backing up, kind of like in our Survivor thing, but it'll be more like just trying to escape kind of thing, and you'll jump on the bus will transition back, crash, you'll fly into the street, and you'll be back at the Raccoon Street with the markets and the alleyways and all that stuff, and then rinse and repeat phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, for as long as the match goes on. Now, if you make it an Omega field or whatever, it'll probably just be like the street with platforms. It'd be like a battlefield or Final Destination, and you'll be boring like every other Smash player that doesn't want to play the Smash stage as itself. But it will still be fun because you'll get the Resident Evil music, which I'll get onto in a second. But that's how I would do the Raccoon City stage. I think it's kind of cool as it throws little stage hazards in with the zombies coming to attack the players, little buildings falling apart, blowing up, and the explosions and fire kind of hurting you, transitioning slowly, and then you get these fast-paced transitions. It gets faster because the bus will probably be a little faster than the truck, because it's trying to get out of Nemesis and Mr. X and just random zombies, and you could probably say Carlos or Claire, or someone's driving the bus. You can throw in a character from Stars, one of the hunters or something, I don't know, Hunk, Wesker. You could just throw in a cameo of someone driving the bus, I don't care. But I think it'd be kind of cool, and then that represents Mr. X and Nemesis, and it gives you 2 possible stage hazards. While Mr. X is more likely, it's a little Easter egg, smaller percentage chance you see Nemesis too, but if it's Nemesis, he's a lot harder to get rid of, so that'd be kind of cool. And it's a transitioning stage, it's not a stage that's one central location, and it represents different parts of Raccoon City. And during the transition parts, you kind of see the little locations that lead from the road, like the street view, to the hospital/clock tower, from the hospital clock tower to the Raccoon City Police Department, a little stuff in between. So there you go. And that's, I think, a good, fun stage that would represent most of Raccoon City. And as for the music, I picked 20 songs from it. I think Capcom's pretty, forgiving. Capcom's fairly generous. We got a lot of Mega Man songs. There's like 30 some Mega Man songs in Smash Bros. Ultimate. There's almost 30 high 20 range songs of Street Fighter in Smash Bros. Ultimate. If there's any more Capcom franchises ever getting into Smash Brothers, I can almost guarantee they're going to be generous with it. Now, why did I not pick as much Resident Evil as I picked? As technically, if you pick 20, but there's like 30 some, Mega Man and Street Fighter songs, because those are a little bit more iconic, those are a little bit more different. More, Resident Evil is a little more like all the stuff. I'm not saying it sounds the same, but it's more atmospheric, and I want to represent a lot of that because I want to represent multiple songs of the series. But I don't want to give them too much songs because it's like it kind of gets a little bit redundant after a while, and it's like there's only so much you could do with Resident Evil music, and as awesome as it would be in Smash Brothers, I want to say Capcom is generous, but they would know that there's more to give for something like a Mega Man and Street Fighter than there is for Resident Evil, even though Resident Evil has a lot to give, and that's why I picked 20. And I think 20 is a good size for as generous as Capcom is. And I mixed it up, tried to represent almost every game in the series, main entry at least. There is games I left off, but I tried to represent as much of them as possible. Most of them being from Resident Evil 2, because that's the original location, the original game that had Raccoon City. 10 of the songs are from Resident Evil 2, and 5 split off between the original Resident Evil 2 and the Resident Evil 2 remake. So for the original Resident Evil 2, I have the Raccoon City RPD theme. It's basically the main theme for the city when you're traveling. It's pretty cool, epic, atmospheric. I have Ada's theme in the sewer. Ada has to be represented somehow. Her song is very iconic and it fits the location very well. The second malformation of G, the Marshalling Yard, which is I think the battle for the G virus with Birkin and whatnot, something involving him, if I recall. It's been a long while since I've heard Resident Evil 2. Good song, fits the atmospheric battle really well. Special end title from Resident Evil 2, represent one of you clearing the games, and special end. It's very semi-actiony, atmospheric, and I feel it would be good for Smash battling. And Goodbye Leon, the Underground Lab, because you have to represent the Underground Lab. That's the main point of freaking Resident Evil 2. Now we get to the Resident Evil 2 remake. I have Another End, The Reign of Mourning, Escape, Reliving the Past, and The Marches to Survive. Very iconic moments from throughout the game that represent different parts of the story, and they're all really, really good. Now we get into non-Resident Evil 2 songs. The one I gave from the original Resident Evil is the Snake Fight. That is iconic. It is a good battle theme for a boss. I like it. The final battle from Remake, when you're fighting the Tyrant, really epic music. I love that when I played that game. Nemesis' theme from Resident Evil 3. Like I said, Nemesis is one of the two major boss hazards, boss battles in this stage. Gotta have his music. And also goes into eventually the Resident Evil 3 remake to the Krauser theme from Resident Evil 4 and Mercenary Hunk theme from Resident Evil 4. Krauser was one of the main boss battles, major characters in Resident Evil 4, especially if Leon is the character picked as his old partner. It makes sense. And Hunk is an iconic character in the Resident Evil series, so his Mercenaries theme from RE4, really good song to pick. Winds of Madness, the Wesker theme from Resident Evil 5. If there's one song to give from Resident Evil 5, it's the main villain Wesker's theme. It's really awesome. The subway station from Resident Evil 6, an iconic point in the game. As much as you might not like Resident Evil 6, I have to represent it. It has some good music in there too, and I think that's one of the best ones to pick. Daddy's Back from Resident Evil 7, the Baker family, have to represent it. A really good song. Parasites from Resident Evil Revelations 1. I didn't pick anything from Revelations 2, but Revelations 1 had a lot of iconic music, and Parasites was a really good one. And the P-Tyrant 2 from Resident Evil 0, because it started pretty much right there before Resident Evil 1 even started. So Billy Chambers and Rebecca Masters get something to represent their game too. That is the 20 songs I picked. Is there better songs to pick? Probably too. Maybe, sure. What songs would you guys pick? Like, what did I not pick here that should be in the stage? And what from this list would you guys love? Like, oh, that makes sense in Smash Bros. I would love to see that. Take a look at this. I'm putting it right there. I'm hoping it's all... Yeah, that's it, and that's 20 songs.